Hey family, I got one for you. Pastor Beal, Dad, had an awesome message at church yesterday, and it was about faith and faith through different seasons of our lives and up and downs, and it was right on time. I'd actually just had this conversation with a colleague, my boss at work, and I told him a story I heard a long time ago, and I'm going to tell you guys. So there was a farmer in rural China, way out in the middle of nowhere, farmland, and the village that he was in, that's all they did was farm. By chance, he and his wife hadn't been able to have kids, and they were getting in a later season of their lives, and by chance, after much later after they had expected, they actually got pregnant. And in that culture, it's a big thing to have a male child, a male heir. So when the baby came, the villagers came and exclaimed how excited they were for him, and said what a blessing it is that you've had a son befall your home. And the farmer said, well, maybe. And a few years later, the kid grows up and he's, just a model kid, hard worker, helps out on the farm. He's really good with the livestock, really good with the horses. And again, the villagers, exclaimed how happy they were for the old couple, and said what a blessing the son is that he's helping like he is. And again, the farmer said, well, maybe. A few years later, the son is riding one of the horses, and it was a terrible accident, but the horse got scared by a snake and it flipped over and landed on him, and it was a really bad wreck. He broke his leg in several places, and it didn't heal very well, and he was pretty lame whenever it did set, and he could barely walk. And the villagers came and said, oh, what a tragedy's befallen your home that your son has come up lame. And the farmer said, well, maybe. A few years later goes by, and that portion of the countryside went to war with a separate faction or whatever, and the military swept through the countryside and was taking all the able-bodied males in the area to go fight. And the farmer was past the age of service, and the boy was lame, so they couldn't take him either. So the military passed his home, and the villagers came back and said, oh, what a blessing, and how lucky you are that you ended up not having to serve. And the farmer said, well, maybe. And much like Dad preached about, the moral of that story is we don't know what God has on the other side of this chapter. Like he's writing this book. We're just going through it. So don't let your highs be too high. Don't let your lows be too low. Have faith that, God's writing a beautiful story. And just because we don't understand how he's going to end this chapter or what's on the next page, just keep, your eyes on him. Keep seeking his face because he's got something for us. Love you guys.